wind up in WCW?
I never actually made it to the WCW.
Right. A lot of the guys actually point to your kind of contract as what was wrong with WCW, and how do you respond to that?
They're 100% right. As a matter of fact, this is probably the only thing that I agree with Ole Anderson about. See, when he was the booker or the owner or whatever, he always treated the boss's money like it was his own. Where the people in the WCW, they abused and irresponsibly handled Ted Turner's money. Now, that was before, I guess, they merged with AOL or,
Right.
Back when they were the, I don't remember the chronological order of everything, but Ted Turner, in wrestling, when it was just Ted Turner, wrestling was just like an ancillary part of his empire of cable television. Okay? So if he showed a loss, there was no big whoop. But when he had to be accountable to AOL or whatever, it doesn't look good on the balance sheet.
Huh.
Now, you had people in the WCW that were in charge of making decisions that were letting money hemorrhage from the company. Now, as an individual, I am a successful man because it's not what you make, it's what you save. Let me make a little example. If you have a bucket and there's no hole in the bucket, it doesn't matter if I have an eyedropper. Slowly but surely, I will win. I will fill my bucket and I will live in abundance instead of scarcity. However, and in the case of a multitude of wrestlers, Ric Flair included, and I'm saying it only because I read his book, where he was rougher on himself than he was on knocking anybody else. He was actually degrading himself by telling the truth. He was very, very honest in the book, and it was very introspective. But Ric Flair, who has done nothing in this business except succeed, has a larger bucket than me and is filling it up with a garden hose and sometimes a fire hose, not an eyedropper like I had. But because there was a hole in his bucket, it didn't matter because it all goes on the sand. Now, that's only half of the nightmare. Because right now, I'm a certified credit counselor. And my disposable income now is greater than almost every year I've ever had in the wrestling, in the 21 years I've had. Because they give me a check and I have a W-2 and they take out the taxes so I don't have a surprise at the end of the year in case I handled it stupidly.
Right.
Now, in the wrestling business, you're an independent contractor. And if you live like you're in Hollywood and say confetti, and if you have your hole in the bucket, Uncle Sam says now, and we're not impressed with the fact that you're a big deal wrestling star. Now. We want it now. Otherwise, they charge you exorbitant interest. You pay the fine, and you live in red ink for the rest of your life. And it's like you're going to be a prisoner of your own debt. The Macho Man did an amazing thing. When he was the representative of Slim Jim, he never said no to them. And he always dressed to the nines. And let me tell you how my brother gives an autograph. He says, "Hello, what's your name?" "Oh, Billy." "Michael." "Hey, you're looking good. How you doing?" And he signs his autograph. He's got a beautiful autograph. And he makes Billy, Mike, or Johnny, or Teresa feel like $10 million. Everybody gets their share. And the reason he does is because he's smart. He was there with me in Hawaii when I was 12 years old. And I went up to Art Linkletter. He wasn't there at the time, but he heard my story. That I said, "Mr. Linkletter?" And I was 12 years old, cute as a bug's ear. "Mr. Linkletter?" I had a pen out. I had all the etiquette you would ever want. "May I have your autograph?" And he was in Waikiki Beach in front of the Royal Hawaiian Hotel, and he was reading Variety magazine, and he had a nice chaise lounge. And he says, "Buzz off." And he didn't say buzz. And I was 12, and I was devastated. And I got depressed for about 3 days. My parents finally asked me what happened, and I told them. And they were ready to kill somebody. And then that's when I was 12. 6 years later, I wrestled, and somebody asked me for my autograph, and it just hit me. I have the power to make somebody's day or kill it. Because I know what it's like to be rejected. I know what it's like to be spurned. I know what it's like for somebody to take a pin and burst your bubble for no other reason except laziness or deliberate cruelty. So I have never been too busy to sign an autograph. And in baseball, when they get paid big money to sign autographs, they do it like this. Now, how do you feel? Like a statistic or an individual? Macho Man says, yeah, how you doing? He gives you his attention. He makes it, he's got a beautiful handwriting.
Right.
And he uses it. And he makes it fancy, and he gives your name spelled correct. How do you spell that? And he makes it nice. And he doesn't just do it when he does it every time, all the time, always. And he never turns down an autograph. And myself, I have a sloppy handwriting. However, I type over 90 words a minute. Sorry, I had to put myself over. But that's objective or subjective. You know what I'm saying? Object is, yes, I type very well, and I'm very proud of it. Microsoft Word, got it all, maybe. So what I'm saying is he consistently did that, and he went to, he's not even crazy about NASCAR, but he went there anyway, and he dressed to the nines. You know how he dresses.
Right.
And he suffered in the hot blazing sun watching a sport that he doesn't understand. Cars are going in a circle. I mean, if you're into it, fine. If you're not. But the thing is, he was invited by Slim Jim, and he always attended. He paid his own way, and he developed personal relationships with them. So when he left the WWF and went to the WCW, he had a meeting in Raleigh, North Carolina, and he convinced them to uninvest with Vince McMahon and take their big fat money to Ted Turner. And then it was easy for him to get a contract for me. And I had no intention of not earning my money.
Right. They just didn't bring you in.
I bleached my hair. I bought the gowns. I trained like crazy, although, may I say, I never became the Ultimate Warrior, as you probably know. As a matter of fact, I wasn't even built as well as the Genius used to be, because let's face it, I'm getting older, it's getting more difficult. I still train, I still work out, but it's to look like Jack LaLanne, it's to feel good, and to, I want to be vigorous, I want to be vital. So anyway, I worked hard on my gimmick. I worked on the persona. In fact, I even invested in blue contact lenses. I wrote a song for myself. Let's see, I can't remember it. Georgous George, they call me Georgous George, something like that, right. With my hair blonde and curly and my eyes of china blue. Now, does that sound like a guy that wants to sit on his butt collecting money? No, I was ready to go out there and do it, but my phone never rang. Okay? Because every time I was going to go, they changed bookers. They changed bookers like they changed their socks. As soon as you didn't draw a house, they changed it again. And then they had a committee, and that's the worst thing in the world. Especially, it needs to be a totalitarian government. A booker should have at least the power to not be negated by either a superstar or by a bunch of committees or pushing it through. I mean, if it was a dictatorship, it would be a little easier. At least give me the ball and let me run with it for a while, whatever. But anyway, I never intended to take more than I gave, but unfortunately, or fortunately, that's how it ended up. But it was not my intention, and a lot of the boys were bitter, and I'm terribly sorry.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.